Hello everybody, welcome to the final episode of this season of The Elder Geeks, where good games never get old, but we sure do. My name is Randy Asenchak. With me this week is Steve.
Hey Randy, how's it going?
Doing awesome, man. It's the holiday season, man. I can't complain. It's nice. It's good. It's the final episode. I'm excited.
Well,
I wish I had some kind of giveaway here, but I got nothing.
A very fine, happy holidays to you.
Yes, and you as well, sir. I did my kids' holiday show today, so I'm all holiday seasoned up.
It's the rest of my week. That's what I got going on.
Nice. Also with us tonight is Phil.
Yo, hello.
How's it going, Phil?
Very good.
You've been plugging away, man. You've been a busy little beaver.
I've been a busy bee. A lot of games, a lot of projects going on. Do you mind if I talk about my Ninja Gaiden project?
I want you to talk about your Ninja Gaiden project because I've personally seen your Ninja Gaiden project, and I'm personally excited about your Ninja Gaiden project. So plug away.
All right, great. So if you guys have listened to previous episodes, I did mention in one of the earlier ones how I was working on a strategy guide for Ninja Gaiden, the NES game. So it's all hand-drawn, and I give it away. It's a pay-what-you-want download. I have it on a Gumroad store. So the URL for that would be gumroad.com/hand-drawn-game-guides, all one word. And if you don't want to go there, you can find a link on my Twitter, which is @HeyPhilSummers. And yeah, I have I launched it on Wednesday. I don't know when this episode of the show will go live, so it's possible that it's already out. But yeah, I've been working on it. I worked on it from probably the like halfway through the summer all the way through the fall, and just wrapped it up. So it's just a little personal project that I wanted to get out there. I made a Contra one already earlier in the year, so I did 2 of these this year.
It's gorgeous too, man.
Thank you.
You should be really proud of what you did.
Thank you.
I really nice.
Thank you. I love that game, so it's one of the reasons I chose it, obviously. One of the nice things that kind of worked out is that I'm releasing it the same day that it hits the Switch for the NES Online, which is kind of cool to release this guide on the day that the game itself gets re-released. And it was also its 30th anniversary on Sunday, so it's all kind of working out. It's all kind of coming together.
That's great. Were you in touch with some of the original sound dudes or something like that from Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah. I'm in touch with Keiji Yamagishi. He is the composer of it. And when I say in touch, just follow each other on Twitter, and he's aware of what I do. I did a little bit of work for an album he has coming out through Brave Wave. I don't know when that comes out, but yeah, he actually saw my Contra book and liked it, and I was already planning on doing Ninja Gaiden, and it's weird how it all worked out this year. It's a little crazy.
Is incredible, man. That is awesome.
It's a little crazy. So, yeah.
Go
download it.
Yeah, I will obviously throw links down in the description for everybody to check out, so please check out Phil's hand-drawn Ninja Gaiden strategy guide. Is that officially what it is? The strategy guide? It's almost like what the instruction booklet should have been, It's awesome.
Thanks. Ninja Gaiden itself has a pretty cool instruction manual, so I don't want to diss on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I get you.
But that's kind of the idea of these things. Is just I really liked those old manuals, or just the old guides that you'd see in Nintendo Power and that kind of stuff. It's just a little outlet for me. That's all.
Nice. And just gonna wrap things up here a little bit. Ryan is not with us tonight because Ryan, as we've been talking about it pretty much all season long, Ryan had his baby. It happened.
Yay! Congrats, Ryan.
He is officially a dad. He got that seal.
Is he healing up nicely? I hope.
Yes, he is. He's recovering.
Poor guy.
But no, it sounds like everything went really well with them, so they're obviously very happy. Yeah. But yeah. Ryan is very excited about it. They're gonna make good parents.
That's fantastic news.
Yeah,
very, very happy for them.
That's awesome.
What a great time of year too to have.
I know, right? The only downside is because my wife has a birthday around the holidays, is that she's still bitter about it now. Is that sometimes when you got gifts growing up, that their birthday presents, a lot of people would just give you one gift for birthday and one gift for the holidays, and she always felt slighted by that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's that. Anyway, if you've never listened to the show before, way we break down the show is first we talk about games that we play with our families, and then we break off into a segment where we talk about games that we are playing by ourselves and in what little spare time that we have. And then when we wrap things up, we talk about just some off-topic stuff, some geeky parental things that we generally don't get to talk, with other geeky parents about. Steve and I don't have any games with our families this week. I can tell you why I don't have one, and it's because my son and I have been just marathoning Pokemon Sun. So he and I have been doing that, and then he is also playing some just more Lego games with my wife on the nights when he plays games with her. So no new games from us, but Phil apparently is a fountain of information.
I don't know if I would go that far.
A hot holiday item.
Yeah, so I've been playing my family game this week. It could cover family and personal, but I'm gonna put it under family. Is Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I know that Randy and Steve cannot wait to hear about Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Because they just haven't heard enough about it. You can't see me,
but I'm biting my nails right now as I talk about it.
I feel like after the 20 odd hours of Nintendo Directs that have come out about it over the last 6 months or so, I feel like there's probably still a lot we could hear.
See, I'm personally so excited for Smash to come out because now Nintendo might talk about something else in their Nintendo Directs now.
Well, I don't know. They got DLC, so they got plenty more Smash Brothers to talk about.
That well's not going dry for a while.
Oh no. No.
I hate to say this, but I am not going to have anything of value to add to this conversation about Smash because the last time I played a Smash game was on the N64. Like, that's it.
The first one.
Yeah,
so
the first one.
So it just never grabbed you.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have friends to play fighting games.
well, that's what I think is cool about Smash is that you don't need friends to play that game. I mean, it certainly helps. It's amazing. It's an amazing experience when you have a whole bunch of people together. But those games are loaded with things to do, and this one is no exception. Just so many modes and so many unlockables and just deep, ridiculously deep, like single player content. Really, like you almost wonder why they do it. But let me think where to start. Yeah, so I got Smash Brothers. The first night we got it, I played with my whole family. All of us played. Unfortunately, I only have one Pro controller. I don't have any GameCube adapters. So there was a lot of sideways Joy-Conning going on. And that is not the way to play Smash Brothers. But we still had fun, and we unlocked a couple characters.
That's a good tip to start everything right off with, by the way. That sideways Joy-Conning is not the way to go with Smash.
No, and I think most Smash players would the serious Smash players are just snobs, and they refuse to play with anything other than a GameCube controller. But
I'm actually holding in my hands a GameCube controller adapter still in the box.
Wow.
Ooh, from the Wii U one?
No, the Switch one. It's Switch branded.
Oh, wait.
Wow.
So did you get Smash?
Yeah. I haven't played it yet though. It's put away for Christmas.
Oh. Okay, all right.
But yeah, I did purchase it yet.
Okay, that makes sense. That's my. I also on Katamari. On Friday I picked up Katamari. That will be a Santa item.
That's a good one.
Nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah. So we played that for a while, and then and then that night when the kids went to bed, the music in that game. I'm going to be all over the place, by the way. I'm going to give you kind of just my Smash. I'm just going to give you like my Smash journey through the weekend.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. So
take us for a ride.
It's amazing how much music is in this game. So the game has an entire like music player built into it, right? And you can listen to some of the tracks are locked. You have to buy them or whatever, but there's still hours and hours of music. So just to give you a little idea, I went right to the Castlevania music. Right from the get-go, there is an hour of Castlevania music to listen to, and half of those are new remix tracks for Smash Brothers. So I just went through all those new tracks and was like, I'm going to say I spent 2 hours Friday night just dealing with music in that game. Like going through all the tracks, finding all the new tracks. What you can do is you can go level by level and set the tracks to how often you want to hear them, how often which one will play, if any track should even play at all on a stage. So you can really get like super deep with customizing music. And I fell into that trap on Friday night. So that was a good 2 hours of music.
You know what? As you were talking about the music, I'm trying to look on Spotify to see if the music is available on there, but I'm only seeing like playlists. It's not here, you know.
Yeah, I mean you can find it all on YouTube already, but
I want to kind of like inject that right in here while I can. I really wish that more video games would put their music just right onto streaming services.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah. All right, sorry. Take it back away. So the music is amazing.
Oh yeah, tons of music. Amazing music. So the way the game begins is you only start with the characters that were available in Smash Brothers 1 for 64. So even though there's like 50 odd characters or however many there are, you can only choose from the original. I think there was 8 or something like that, 8 or 10 from Smash Brothers. So you slowly unlock them, which has always been like a Smash Brothers thing. I think aside from the Wii U one, I don't know if you had to unlock any in that one. So a lot of people are complaining about the unlock process because they just want to play as everybody, but I kind of didn't mind it. And the nice thing about having a kid is that all day Saturday, she basically grinded away and got all the characters. So
no way. That's awesome.
So the fighting the characters is kind of hard. So she was able to win, like get to the characters and defeat them. So she did do a few of those, but there's like a little rematch option that you can do in the menus, and you can go there and you can kind of fight. You can fight against all the people you've lost against. So any of the ones that she had a hard time with, I was able to go through and just re-challenge them and just knock them all out that way. So yeah, by Sunday morning we had every character unlocked, which is apparently a big deal because it seems to me that people that I've been talking to, they're not close to having all of them, or. So we put the work in, and then while she was grinding away, I was invited to a friend's house to play Smash Brothers, and there was 6 of us playing that for about 3 hours, and that was great. So,
wow, that's awesome! I'm jealous.
Yeah, so lots of Smash Brothers. To tie it into the family thing, the kid thing, I will say my daughter has. I've mentioned this before on the show. She has a very hard time with like losing, and she gets mad a lot, and that game really makes her angry, and that's not good. So she did lose it for a good portion of the day on Sunday because there were some bad temper tantrums, and it was like, okay, I think we need to put Smash away for a little while.
Which even that vague threat, man, that'll like set my kid off. Like, oh, you're getting upset about whatever. Maybe it's time to put whatever away, and that just that makes the problem so much worse.
Oh yeah, it wasn't good. However, I still played it on Sunday, so she watched me play a little bit, and she was fine with that. So probably not. So she wanted to get back in there, but whatever. But yeah, I mean I don't really know where to go. There's like this game there really is. I know it's just Smash Brothers, but there really is just so much to it and so many like modes and options. There's this whole thing where you collect these spirits. So let me tell you about I'll end it with this. Let me tell you about like a loop I got kind of stuck in last night, and this kind of goes back to your point, Randy, about how you need friends for Smash Brothers, and my point saying you don't need friends. So there's this whole single player mode where there's like a skill tree, and you can find these. They call them spirits, and you can. They're just kind of like, you equip them and you get different attributes. So, I don't know, say you equip a spirit of, I don't know, Diddy Kong, somebody not from the game, whatever, a shy guy. I'm making this up, totally making this up. So you find a shy guy.
So any Nintendo character that's not playable in Smash Brothers,
yes,
you mean?
Okay. Not playable. So say you get a shy guy, and I'm sure there is a shy guy. Waluigi is, well, he's an assist trophy, but I'm sure he's also a spirit. So say you get a shy guy. I'm just going to make up this ability. You're small when you have this on. So when you equip that, every time you would start a match, you had that attribute, you would be small. So it's stuff like that.
Huh. And it's persistent?
And there's literally 1,000 of these things.
Okay.
So, and you can mix and match them and all that kind of stuff. And you can actually level them up. So that's like a whole thing in itself. So they get stronger and their abilities are a little better or whatever. Like the one guy I have is a samurai. Every time you start a round, you have a sword in your hand. So it's stuff like that. So there's a mode where you can literally just fight spirits. So it's like a board of spirits. So say there's like 6 spirits, and each one on this board has a time limit under it. So when you hit the button to start this mode, they all have 5 minutes under them. So you'll see like a character you like. So like last night I saw Solid as Snake. I was like, well, I got to get Solid as Snake because I want him as a spirit. Yeah, so you fight him. And then when you win, there's like a little mini game. It's like a little button time thing where you have to just kind of hit the button at the right time to like blast the spirit free. So you could lose that and you might not get the spirit at all. So, all right, you win the spirit. So that kicks you back out to that screen with all the cards and the timers. And now they've ticked down further. So they're going to go away. So maybe there's another one that maybe you see 2 more that you really want. And you have to make a choice. Which one do I want to get before it goes away? Because I'm not going to be able to win this fight and get back here before it'll be gone. So then you pick another one that catches your eye. Go through the fight. When you come back, you'll now have more spirits that have replaced the other ones. And it's just this loop. And I got stuck in that loop for like over an hour. And I kept saying one more. And then I was like, oh wait, there's another. I was like, oh, that's another character I like. I was like, oh, that's a Belmont, So there's like stuff like that where and they're all like super obscure characters, so they're kind of funny. Like this one I saw, I guess she was like a drawing from an old volleyball game, and I was like, oh, look at that, I got to get that one. So it's just. You could just be there for hours.
Just unlocking stuff.
Yeah, and there's literally thousands of them. There's like 1,200 of these spirits or something like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
so it obviously sounds like you're enjoying the game and you recommend it.
I am, and I enjoy Smash Brothers not from people that are really into Smash. They're very serious about it. They only like one kind of stage. They don't like the chaos. They turn all the items off. They basically make it as boring as possible. Whereas I don't care for that, and they play stock, so you run out of lives, and whoever's the last man standing wins. And I guess when you want to play competitively, that's the way to play. However, I like the chaos of Smash Brothers. I like having all the items going. I like the stages crazy. I like playing time so that it's always a surprise to see who wins at the end. And that's my style of Smash Brothers. So I don't take it seriously. I just enjoy the ride.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean it's I'll wrap it up with this. It's the most video game of the year because
that's a box quote right there. Wow.
Yeah. There's just no fluff. There's no you can do like tutorials. You just get thrown into it. Everything's a game. Like you're always doing something fun. The credits, the credits is like a shooter. You're shooting up the words to get get points to unlock presents. Like you're constantly just doing stuff. So
let me ask you,
Rayman Legends too.
Yeah. May I ask a question? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So for the different characters that are playable, do you get different skins and stuff for them through like unlocks and stuff? Like, can you play as Mario in like the white tuxedo with the top hat, or can you play?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
And it's there from the start. So you get Mario, you have access to all that cool stuff.
Oh wow, okay, so you can just change. But are there other ones that you unlock too, like other skins, like rare runs or anything, or that's just all?
It's possible. The only things I've unlocked is like tons of Mii outfits because you can make a Mii fighter.
Okay.
Tons of those. So that's kind of how they were also able to like kind of force in some characters that aren't in the game. Like I bought an outfit from the main character from Sin and Punishment last night. So there's stuff like that.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you, you've done what 20 odd hours of Nintendo Directs could not do. And that, you actually your description of the spirits and the talent trees and everything got me interested. So I will definitely check out at least that aspect of the game after Christmas when it gets opened up.
I agree, Steve. I sat through all those tree houses and I'm like, oh gosh, here we go, more of this. But now I genuinely want to play the game.
One more thing that I think will get you guys to even maybe play it a little more. So I played. So all the all the fights in the Spirit mode do this. However, in the Classic mode, what I'm going to explain does the same thing. So, Classic mode is it's like Street Fighter. You just fight 8 characters or whatever. You get a boss at the end, and you win. And that's how you get the credits roll. So, one cool thing that they do in this game that they haven't done in the other games is they try and model that single player journey like after the character you pick. So, say you pick Ken from Street Fighter. Every fight that you're going to do in that story mode is going to somehow have a Street Fighter like kind of twist to it. So you can't fight Blanca, but what they'll do is they'll have you fight like a green Donkey Kong on a jungle stage with Blanca's music playing. So they do tons and tons of stuff like that. So you
That's
fight
awesome.
Chun-Li, it's Samus because she's in blue, and so they do a lot of really cool like clever ways to make it like you're fighting the spirit that that the game like represents. So it's pretty neat.
That is
That's
neat.
awesome.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. It sounds cool.
All right,
Well, Steve,
I'm sorry.
No. That's no need to apologize. That is what this show is for.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
My excitement. Yeah. Sorry.
Steve, since we don't have any games that, new ones to talk about, I think it would just be kind of a good idea for you and I to think over the games that we've recommended this year and maybe give like our top recommended one, maybe, since we're like really close to the end of holiday shopping season and such.
Yeah, you go first because I got to think because I've only been on a few episodes, so I'm trying to remember what I recommended now.
I honestly, this is my personal recommendation. If you are still out shopping and you have no idea what to get, video game player person in your life, whether they're an adult or a kid, I recommend either or both because you could probably get them both for cheap now. Puyo Puyo Tetris or Rayman Legends, and you can get both of those games on pretty much any system. And they're great games to play alone, and they're great games to play with people, and they're just great games, period. So, and they're both kind of games that I don't really see people talk a whole lot about, or really throw around a whole lot. So those are 2 games that I would say that would be no fails right there.
Nice. I'm going to be boring, and I'll just go ahead and kind of repeat what I said last week, which was
Minecraft?
Pokemon Go.
Oh, no,
or Let's Go. Pokemon
at all.
Let's Go. Sorry, Pokemon Let's Go. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and say that again. If you've got a Switch and you've got a kid and they don't have Pokemon Let's Go, you should probably just go buy it. I still have.
What kind of parent are you?
That's why I don't have a family game because really I still don't know where my Switch is. It's in the house somewhere, and yeah, she's still just playing Pokemon Let's Go. So, yeah, I guess that's a good one.
Yeah. That's
Go for it. If I ever play it, I'd love to say more about it, but I don't know if I'll ever actually get to play it.
I wanted to pick that up for the girls for Christmas, but they don't like Pokemon for some reason.
Yeah.
They're just not. It's just not their thing. I've tried. I've showed them videos. They just don't like it. They're Yokai Watch kids, so that's like the competition. That's
I
like
see. They've drawn the line. Yeah.
Yeah, they have. And I'm trying to get them to be like, it's okay to like all the things. You don't need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. They'll be like way into Pokemon when they're in like their 20s.
Yeah.
because they weren't into it when they were kids. They'll be like super into it in their 20s. So you'll be.
I wasn't into it at all growing up. I feel like I'm at the age where like it was like when Pokemon came out, I felt like I was a little bit too old for it.
Yeah, I was literally in my 20s when it came
out.
Were you? Yeah, or very early. I think I was 20 actually. So yeah.
But now that I'm playing it with Calvin, I am like. I'm getting into it. I'm learning all of their names, and I feel cool, as I can feel, anyways.
I'll tell you what, I work at a very large facility, and all I see all day are people walking around looking at their phones because we've got like 2 gyms and probably I don't know like 12 Pokestops around around the whole place, and I just see people, all ages and genders playing Pokemon Go on their phones all day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's switch over to games we're playing personally. Either one of you want to go first, or should I take a stab at it?
I spoke so much that you guys have to go.
Yeah, and I just
take a break.
Go ahead, Randy. Go for it.
All right. Game I played, and I actually meant to make a video about this, but work sort of exploded in the interim. Is Black Mesa, the Half-Life remake. And it's one of those games that I purchased a long time ago for like $5 on one of those Steam sales where they sell it for like, 85% off or something like that. And it's a game that I just kind of threw. And I always write a list of the games that I buy on Steam that I never play. So whenever I'm bored, I'm like, oh, I never played that one, and I'll go play it. So I guess the original Half-Life is celebrating its 20th anniversary, and I thought, hey, I'll give Black Mesa a try. Especially
that makes me feel really old.
That is exactly my point. I felt so old playing that game because that game came out when I was in college. You know, I was an adult when that game came out, and now thinking about it being 20 years old, I felt really old playing it. I enjoyed the game. It was a for what it was a blast to stroll down memory lane once again. For those of you who don't know what it is, Black Mesa is this third-party remake of the original Half-Life game using the source engine from Half-Life 2. And it is a third-party remake, meaning that Valve themselves are not in charge of the remake, but instead it's the Crowbar Collective who's doing it. And they've been developing this remake for going on 10 years now, and it's still not done.
Wait, it's not done, but you have it?
No. Yeah.
Is it like an early access? I don't understand.
They've honestly been working on it for 8 years now officially, and they released it as a early access thing, or I think it might have actually been free at one point.
I had been under the impression that it was free as well because it was originally supposed to be like a source mod or whatever.
Right.
But I guess they turned it into a full product somehow with Valve's blessing.
That's right. So Valve gave their papal blessing because Valve doesn't really make games anymore, and they were like, "Sure, go ahead, take our beloved franchise and take 10 years to remake it."
It's funny because it's true, but it still hurts a little bit.
What was the last game they made? Not to sidetrack too much.
They just released that card game, right?
Yeah, they just released a card game that I'm not a big card game dude, so
does that count?
I kind of feel like it doesn't personally. To be honest with you,
I went.
It feels like a quick cash grab to me. Like make a card game and create sellable objects in it. That's not really a video game to me.
I was amazed they were charging for it. To be honest with you, when you've got things like Hearthstone out there, and I believe Magic the Gathering has a digital free version. It's weird that they were even charging a price up front, especially if they're selling stuff in the game.
Right. That's exactly how I feel about it. So all the more reason why I'm never ever gonna touch it. You know. Oh well.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
That's
so Black Mesa, it's most of the game up until the point in the game where Gordon Freeman, I almost said Morgan Freeman, where Gordon Freeman gets blasted off to the alien dimension Zen, which I think is as far as I ever got in the original Half-Life anyway. It was fun. It is paced exactly the same as the original Half-Life. I wish that they took more liberties in creating it to modernize the game, because here's this game that's being developed and put out and everything like that, and boy, it really shows off some of the just bad game decision or bad game design choices that used to be made back then. You know, first-person shooters were so fresh when the original Half-Life came out, and Half-Life was like. It was like this first one where it was cinematic and a shooter at the same time.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of awkwardness to it now.
Yeah.
You know.
I remember being really blown away just like walking up to people and they're talking to you.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like there's no stop and there's a cut scene or there's text. It's just they're just talking and you can just walk away or whatever. I remember thinking that was really cool.
Yeah, I even remember the first time I played Half-Life where you're riding on the tram on the train. Yeah. And I actually thought it was a cutscene. I'm like, oh, this is a game. Yeah. This is amazing. Yeah. I'm moving within this cutscene, and you know that set the pace for everything. But you know, replaying it in Black Mesa, I'm like, wow, this is a huge platform puzzle segment that just, if I had my way, I would just cut it out entirely, because there's a part where you're like trying to navigate through sewers, because who doesn't want to run through feces for 45 minutes at a time without battling anything? I almost stopped at that point, but I'm glad I stuck with it because it picks back up again. So that's basically it. I mean, I guess if you really want to take a stroll down memory lane, Black Mesa is not a bad way to do it. And there are probably plenty of listeners and gamers out there who have never played the original Half-Life. At this point, you're probably not missing anything, you know?
I think we're ripe for a Half-Life reboot from some like mod developers out there.
I'd be down with that. I would. I'd be down with
just take it in a totally different direction, you know, like not like just a remake, like actually like reboot it and you know, kind of just go somewhere else with it a little bit, and then like take the story further than it went because it got cut off kind of abruptly.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could get Troy Baker to voice Gordon Freeman. They could have him be like a wisecracking Gordon Freeman instead of a silent protagonist.
Well, you know what's funny is I went into Black Mesa right after replaying Uncharted 4 because you played Uncharted 4 and I was like, I really want to play that again. And it was kind of funny. It was like, oh, yeah, all right. This Half-Life was in a way almost like the original Uncharted. This cinematic gunplay experience that
for sure
that didn't exist before. Oh crap, where was I going to go with that? I can't remember.
Sorry, I derailed you with it.
I do remember now. I thought to myself, boy, the shooting is so much more fun in Half-Life than it is in Uncharted.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The only downside to the shooting in Half-Life and this remake of Black Mesa, and I'll say this in my video review or whatever I'll call it, is and this is a sign of the time that the game was made in. It gets really annoying when you are being pinpoint shot at by guys who are just like 3 pixels on your screen, you know? And it's like, okay, how does that guy know I'm there? I don't know he's there. And it's design decisions like that have changed over time. Like now when you're playing a game like, I don't know, I hate to compare it to like a first person or to a single player COD game, but the enemies that you're fighting there, you can clearly see that they are there, and it becomes more gamey that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's more clear as to what's going on.
Yeah, it's more clear. I feel like, I mean, in a sense, that makes it a little bit easier too. So I feel like there, needs to be a trade-off somewhere. But I don't know. That's all I really have to say about Black Mesa. I'm sure if it's been, like I said, it's been in development since forever. So. I'd only recommend it if you really wanted to take a trip down memory lane. It's not a must-play experience.
Did they redo the music, or is it just the same music?
I can't tell. Like, it's been so long since I played the original Half-Life. I can't tell if what they did was have somebody create music that is so similar to the original Half-Life music, or if they actually used the original Half-Life music. I truly don't know the answer.
What
to that
about
question.
The voices and stuff?
The voices are actually they're different voice actors, and they're done well. And some of the characters that were in the original are not in this, so that they can use a different voice.
Okay.
And it's cleverly done. I will say that the voice acting that they put into the game is very good.
Okay.
The only thing that is goofy about the audio is when they play that music, and the music is good. When they play it, they really boost it like super loud, like where you can't hear anything else. Like you couldn't hear anybody talking. The gunplay is muted so much. So I would say if you are going to play it, take the music and bump it down to like 50%. You'll still get the same effect, of that. Oh, the music's kicking in. I'm kicking butt, without actually ruining the gameplay experience.
Cool. Well, yeah, I guess there's another Steam sale coming up in another week or so.
Yeah, so, we just left one. There's going to be another one in like 2 weeks.
I would try it out if it gets down in the under $5 range. So I'll keep an eye out on that one.
I agree with that the under $5 range. I hate to think so cheaply on people's literal 10 years worth of work, but at the end of the day, it's just a remake of Half-Life.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
what?
That's about as much as I would be willing to pay for it. Even if, whatever.
Yeah. No, I get you.
While you guys are checking out the Steam sales, I'm going to be checking out the Epic Games Store sales. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just being dumb.
Good. That's great. No, hey man, you know what?
Joke.
Hey, you know what? It's getting a lot of buzz, so competition's a good thing.
Yeah.
So.
It's getting
Hopefully
those buzzes.
we'll see.
I won't be creating an account on there. I've got too many accounts all over the place.
There's a lot of accounts.
I've already got one for Fortnite.
Yeah, I was going to say your
Unreal.
Fortnite account would just cover it, right?
It should, yeah, because I've got one for that, and then I think I have like Unreal, some version of Unreal on there too, like tournament something. Yeah, I forget.
Yeah.
So, and I think I got a free code for Shadow Complex, which I never installed or played.
Shadow Complex was good.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. It's like it's the poor man's Super Metroid.
Yeah. Yeah, with no
that does a little bit of a disservice, but it's okay. So here's a question, just to stay on the store thing for a second. I feel like a lot of people are pretty like, no one's poo-pooing the Epic Store, which I think is fine. But how come? Well, I guess I was gonna tie it back to like Origin. Origin's just EA games, huh? It didn't do
Origin's
other
EA games, but they sell other games as well.
Yeah.
Okay. How come like when Origin happened, I felt like everybody was just like, why would anyone do this? Why would anybody do this? But now that Epic's doing it, people are a little more excited.
I think that mentality has kind of shifted over the last few years. Origin is still kind of on the low end of what people consider to be the good stores, but I feel like the Ubisoft store has kind of come along, and people seem to like that, at least for Ubisoft games, if nothing else. But I know they sell other things on there. And Randy, feel free to jump in here. I'm just Blizzard's kind of been expanding their online stuff and for their store.
The neat part about EA's store is they have the EA Access Pass. So
this is true.
You can do like this. You can pay $60, and then it opens up like a huge library of games that you can play at any time.
Okay.
And there's actually some fairly decent titles on there. Like it's a good deal. There's a bunch of like, I think they have like all the Arkham games. I don't quote me on that, but I if I remember correctly, some of the Arkham games are on there. I know there's like a bunch of Lego games on there. There's a bunch of fun indie games on there that like, on slow days I'll go into my EA Access and I'll tinker around with some indie games that I probably wouldn't have tried otherwise. So it is a neat storefront. It's not the best, but it's a cool idea,
And didn't they just launch a higher tier of that service as well now? Like, so like if you have that version, like you could play the new Battlefield like the day it came out.
Yeah, I think so. I think they did.
I don't know what the pricing is for that, but I believe they just rolled that out not too long, like right when Battlefield came out, basically.
Right. And you have access to other games in there as well. Like I think it gives you access to Sims 4, which is cool. So like you can play Sims 4 and figure out if you like it or not, and then if you like it, then you're obviously going to spend more money on like the expansion packs and such for it. I think all of the Dragon Age games are available on there. So, as far as storefronts go, sure, people like to poo-poo on it, but it actually does have some pretty good deals on there once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I guess the other thing people like about, I guess, the Epic Store, they developers get a bigger cut of the moolah. So I think that's why it's getting pushed as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is a big pushing point for them. But I mean, at the same time, the developer then needs to decide, do I want a bigger cut of smaller sales, or do I want more sales with, a smaller cut?
Yeah.
If they were to offer it on a place like Steam.
Yeah.
Should be
It'll
interesting.
be interesting to see what happens.
Yep.
But sorry I had you guys go off one. I was just kind of curious.
No, that's okay. Like, honestly, my preferred place to buy games, if there's a game available on like Steam and EA and any other platform, if it's available on GOG, I'll get it there.
Okay.
Especially if it's the cheapest price.
Cool.
Yeah. Steve, what's the personal game that you've been playing?
I've been working on Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation 4 over the last, I don't know, a while.
It's a big game.
Stuff takes me a while anymore. I just, I don't have the fortitude I once had. I'm pretty far into it. My what's her name? Alloy? She's level 27 right now, and just kind of, working my way through the story, doing some side stuff. It's pretty cool.
I'm just gonna hop in here just so people know what it is. Horizon Zero Dawn is an open world game where you play as a prehistoric type girl in a world where there's like robotic dinosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah,
but she's got access to like technology and stuff.
Yeah,
right? She does.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so it's kind of like they live in like the society that's kind of Native American-ish until you kind of then start to branch out into the rest of the world and have exposure to other people and tribes. But
right.
So yeah, and it's set in a. I mean, this isn't really a spoiler because you find it out basically within like the first few seconds of the game, and it's in all the artwork and everything.
Right.
And the game's been out for a while anyway. So, but
Right.
basically, it's you're playing in a distant future on Earth after something has basically put us back to like prehistoric native type times.
Robopocalypse.
Yeah, Robopocalypse.
I mean, that was my thought. I never played it, and that was always my thought.
And so you it's kind of fun, and it's fun with the story because you're kind of and the world because you're going through like these ruined cities at parts that are just so ruined that like you almost don't realize you're in a city right away because there's like trees and growth and stuff, and then you kind of like, oh well, like there's a straight line. Oh, and then it kind of like opens up and there's like a big kind of like all these buildings destroyed and stuff. So, and there's like kind of like fun. They have fun with it too a little bit. Like a lot of things like when you find like kind of like the trash when you're looting creatures and whatnot or crates, you'll find you'll find keys. They look like house keys, but like the label in the inventory says like prehistoric wind chimes or something like that. Like,
yeah, that's right.
It kind of reminded me of like the Little Mermaid a little bit, where like she didn't like understand what the stuff was for. Just she had like no concept with like a fork, what you would do with a fork. So like she was like twirling in her hair. It's like that kind of thing. There's a lot of that. Like they kind of like joke around a little bit in the inventory. And
I can't remember. There was one of them I swear they said was like a fertility symbol, and it was like a coffee mug or something like that.
Well, there's a vendor who like wants you to go find all the coffee cups because
that's right. That's what
and you basically have to find like different combinations of different coffee cup or unique coffee cups. Sorry, and then he'll like trade them for like a loot crate, like of like really high end stuff or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of funny. So there's a lot of like it's an open world game. It's got some collectathon kind of stuff in it.
What's like the loop in it? Like what do you do? You start up the game and like what do you do? Like
the main loop, it's very very story driven. I mean, it's got like a main storyline, so it's kind of like sending you around the map and you're unlocking it as you go. It actually feels in a lot of ways. I mean, it feels a lot like Breath of the Wild.
Okay,
I could agree with that.
Very similar to Breath of the Wild. Having played both. Even like the way with the bow and some of the machines you're fighting kind of remind me of like the Guardians in Breath of the Wild a little bit. So it's got that kind of vibe, but
Okay.
So that's very very similar to even in pacing somewhat because you just kind of push the story forward by you go to an area and like for some reason it might be a fortress or an old army bunker type thing. And you're kind of going down into like these caverns or whatever, and you're exploring. And you're killing, a mixture of robotic creatures, or like other
enemy tribes.
Enemy tribes. Yeah, I was trying to think. Sorry, my mouth got stuck on a syllable there. And so you're kind of just to progress the story. You're going through these various, kind of like missions, I guess you could say, or quests or whatever. Then there's a lot of side content too. There's NPCs that'll come running up to you and be like, hey, those guys just, whatever, knocked my wagon over and took all my stuff. It's probably similar to even like Red Dead in that kind of regard. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm really I like the stealth elements a lot. I think on the last episode I talked about Uncharted 4 and how I was kind of I liked that they added stealth stuff, but that I was a little disappointed that it wasn't more fleshed out to make it more enjoyable. This game I feel like it's almost too far the other way, where like you have so much in your toolkit when you're playing it as a stealth character that it almost feels like cheating sometimes. Really, I mean, you've got you've got the ability to tag. You've got this thing that you wear in your ear. It looks like a Bluetooth headset, and for all I know, it may be, or like a futuristic one that she's got.
It's like Google Glass, but in a Bluetooth headset.
And so like when you click down the right thumbstick on the DualShock, it like puts you in like like in Batman or in like The Witcher when they do like the investigation mode.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
and so you're able to kind of see things in the environment that you couldn't see before. And so like targets are then like outlined in like orange, and they're like really easy to see, or like the robots are different, like blue and stuff, and you can tag them, and there's no limit to how many targets you can tag, as far as I've never encountered one. Because I've targeted like all of them in an entire encampment at one time, and that could be like 20. Yeah. So you can target them. You can target their path, so it draws like arrows where you can on the ground where you can see where they're going to walk. And then you've got things like you can put down traps. You've got this one weapon that like you shoot it twice and it makes like a tripwire, and they have like different elemental properties like fire or electricity.
Cool.
Which is super fun.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's great, and it is a lot of fun. But the thing is that like you have so much of that, it almost makes a lot of the fights and stuff seem really easy, because it's like there's so many places to hide. There's like that tall red grass all throughout the world, and there's so much of it that you can really, anytime you see any enemies, you can pretty much just get around them. And that was one thing that I had as a positive, actually, is that I felt like the game kind of, because of the way the enemies were placed, it feels like it's kind of encouraging you to go off the path and explore into the woods and stuff, and like take kind of like route, like, because if you pull up the map, you can see there's a road that would get you right where you're going, but there might be all these packs of like really big robots, and so you might, then it's better to kind of like crouch down and sneak through the woods, and you end up going through all these like ruins and stuff. So it does kind of encourage you to do that, I feel like, at least in the world design.
I will say this, to not to counter, but to sort of add on to one of your points that you're saying it was a little bit easy. One of my favorite things about Horizon was that you can escalate your difficulty scale to a pretty great degree. So not only is there like easy, normal, medium, hard, but you can also do other things like turn off elements of your HUD, which I totally recommend people doing. When I played it, I turned off like the waypoints, I think. Because it was so much more fun to discover that little world than actually relying on the game saying, go that way now, And because I'm a masochist, I played through that game on the hardest difficulty, and there were times when I was like, I don't think I can go any further, and I think all my save files can't help me for where I am, and really was white knuckling it at a couple of points. But
did you just skip right to hard, or did you play through normal first, then did hard? Or
I set it on like super duper hard, and it was actually too hard. Okay. So I actually don't recommend setting it on super duper hard. I set it on like one down from that, and that felt perfect for me.
Yeah. I'll take a look. Because
I like open world games and I love stealth games. So like second to hardest difficulty, first playthrough was great, because I think I could be wrong, but I think you can do a New Game Plus with that game.
You can, yeah.
And that's when you want to jack it up to the absolute hardest difficulty.
Okay, yeah.
Because you've got like all this crazy gear.
Okay. Yeah, I've got pretty good stuff right now on my gear. I think everything's like purple items. But yeah, it's a great game. I'm really enjoying it. I don't know when I'm ever going to finish it, but I'll keep playing it and chipping away at it here and there whenever I have an hour to spare. It runs pretty good. Like frame rate and everything, I mean, it's 30 frames per second. Drives me crazy, but it's not.
But to add to you, you're right. You can really see that the frame rate, struggles
but
at times.
It's not too bad. It's fine. It's playable. But I will say the load times are pretty rough. I'm playing it on a launch PS4, so I don't know how it is on the Pro, or if you put an SSD in your drive in there or whatever. I don't know how that works, but just with a stock launch PS4 500 gig one, the load times are like I don't know, like run to the store, like while it's loading long. Like they're really bad. But well, I will say this, that's the initial load times, or whenever you use it has a fast travel system where you can fast travel back to any like campfire you found, which are scattered all over the world. Anytime you do that, use fast travel or the initial load of the game, it's like go grocery shopping and then come back and play. But once you get past that, I will say that you never really see a loading screen or anything. I mean, and the world is huge. So, I mean, to its credit, I don't mean to be like I'm, completely giving it a ding. But, yeah, that would be the only thing I would say. And again, if you have a PS4 Pro or, like, put a SSD in your system, then maybe that's not an issue.
Yeah, that's a game I definitely want to replay. I got that as a gift for Christmas last year, and I think last year it just came out as you can get the complete edition. So I think whoever gave it to me bought the complete edition for like $20. So it comes with like all the DLC and such.
Okay, yeah, that's what I have as well.
Yeah.
I did,
and the DLC in that is actually super good.
I'd like to check it out. I think I just hit like the level range where it's accessible to me now.
Mm-hmm.
I think level 25 was where you could get into it. So I might check it out because I just earlier tonight I played it for a little bit and I got into like the first kind of like winter area, and like I was like, oh man, I'm a sucker for winter zones and stuff in video games. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And now I kind of want to check out the DLC too because I know that's another kind of like frozen area.
Yeah. And so many games nowadays, like when they say they have DLC coming out, like any Assassin's Creed basically any Assassin's Creed, when they're like, all new areas in this DLC, it's all been junk. I don't think there's ever been a good Assassin's Creed DLC ever. But
the last thing I'll say about Horizon is it is the first game by Guerrilla that I've ever liked.
I was about to say.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, because I did not like the Killzone games, and whatever that one was they made before Killzone, I can't even remember the name of it. So this is the first game out of them that I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. So
yeah, I could agree with that. It seemed like whereas the Killzone games felt almost more like tech demos, this feels like a good, thought out, proper game.
Yeah.
Killzone was. I'm sorry. Steve, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, finish, Phil.
Killzone to me was such a weird franchise. It was like, it always seemed like these games that no one cared about or liked, but Sony just kept trying to be like, nah, Killzone, guys. Killzone's the thing. And then they finally, it was just
it felt
like, no,
very
guys, you guys are wrong.
It was very try hard.
Yeah, it was very forced. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted it. And they just kept doing it.
I hated that they lifted the way that the design of those guys. I mean, it was cool, but it was basically they ripped off Jinro.
Oh,
so it was kind of like it was like, I don't know. It wasn't like that original to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. And they just kept it up for like forever. So I'm glad that they were allowed to stop making Killzones.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, Sony made the right call by like just finally saying, "Look, guys, it's okay. We're going to let you make something, whatever you want. Just go
crazy. Trying to make fetch happen.
We're sorry about the last 15 years of Killzone. Please just go crazy." And this is what they came out with, and it's really good. So I'm very happy to. I hope they continue to go in cool, creative directions because it's a very, very technically well-made game.
Stop trying to make Killzone happen. It's never going to happen.
No, please don't make any more Killzone.
Yeah,
we are. Oh, go ahead, Phil.
I was just gonna say, it always just felt to me like Sony was like, Microsoft's got that Halo game. What do we got? We got Killzone, guys, and they just kept trotting out Killzone. Oh, they got Halo 3 now. Oh, guys, we need Killzone 3 immediately. Like no one cared.
Every time I hear the name Killzone, I think of Thrill House from The Simpsons when Milhouse was writing his name into the Mortal Kombat game or whatever, and he was trying to write Thrill House. That's what I always think of when I hear Killzone.
Bonestorm. Buy me Bonestorm or go.
Oh yeah, Bonestorm. Yeah.
His name comes up as Welcome Thrill Ho.
Yeah.
We are a bunch of chatty Cathys tonight, and that is okay because this is a season finale. But Phil, tell us about your personal game, and then we'll go into off topics.
All right, so I had a little bit of a 64 kick the past few weeks, and as an aside, I'm always pretty down on the 64. I mean, I loved it when it was out, and I had a lot of fun with it. And as time went on, I kind of thought that was, why would anyone want to go back to these games? These games are not good. But I played it. I flipped through a whole bunch of games in one day, and I was just like, 64 was all right. It's pretty awesome.
What were like? Give me a couple of games that you thought were like kind of crap that you played this time around where you're like, hey, this wasn't that bad.
It wasn't so much that it was. I didn't play any games that I thought were crap, but I played games that I wasn't sure how I would maybe feel about them coming back to them. So I played a little bit of 1080 snowboarding.
Oh.
I really liked that. I had fun playing that again. F-Zero X is still incredible. Like, that game really, when it came out, got dinged for looking like crap, but it only looked like crap because they wanted it to run at 60 frames per second, and that choice has paid off because no 64 game moves like that game. So
That was a great
That was
game.
awesome. Yeah, so good. And then I played Sin and Punishment, which I never really...
Oh, I remember that one.
I love the Wii Sin and Punishment. I never really... The 64 one never really clicked with me. I have it, and then I bought it again on Wii when they released it on Virtual Console, and I thought maybe it would get me there, and it didn't really get me there, but I ended up playing through it in one sitting this time, and I was like, all right, this game's kind of awesome. It clicked. Actually, going back to the one episode where I talked about that game Wild Guns, so I always thought of Sin and Punishment as a Star Fox kind of game, but it hit me this time. I was like, oh, this is Wild Guns. I was like, this is a new type of Wild Guns. It's like the control is very similar, and what you're doing is very similar. And so that was kind of like my aha moment with that game, and I looked at it a little differently. So I guess I always looked at it as a Star Fox game, whereas the Wii one is a little more of a Star Fox game because you're moving your character all around while you're aiming. So yeah, that kind of had a new appreciation for that one. And what else did I throw in there? Well, and then the other one that I was going to talk about a little more at length was Mischief Makers, which is amazing. It's another game that when it came out, I really liked it, but it came out during 3D time, so it's like this weird 2D game, and it is really weird. So I think it got dinged just for seeming outdated. But man, what a game. What a great game. It completely sucked me in, and I beat the whole thing real quickly, and then I went through and found all the secret items to get the best ending. And I did the whole thing. I put like 8 hours onto that game in like a week. I loved it. But so Mischief Makers, I'd like to talk about that one a little more. Did you guys ever play that? Steve,
No.
I think you did.
Yeah, I owned it. Yeah, I owned it for the 64. Yeah, but I don't remember it real well. It's kind of like a puzzle game, right? Kind of, in sort of like.
No, it's a pretty much a straight up action game. Sometimes there's like some puzzly things.
I guess I'm picturing like. I know I owned it, but maybe I'm confusing it with something else now.
Do you know anything about it, Randy? You don't even know what it is, or?
No, I'm actually typing it in right now as we speak.
So it's a Treasure game. It's made by Treasure, and it's a.
I remember
2D...
this box art.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's got really weird looking characters. Everything has like this weird sad face, even though it's kind of like a happy game. Everything has a sad face. So it's just this crazy game where every single stage introduces like this whole new concept. But the stage is only like a minute long, so it's like it just introduces this idea that they could build multiple stages out of, and then it just kind of moves on and goes to the next thing, and it's just super creative. The whole hook of it is that you can grab whatever you want and throw it around, or you can shake it. And if you hold something and shake it, well, anything could happen. Maybe like an item could come out, or if you're holding like a missile and you shake it, the missile gets real big. So there's all sorts of interesting things that happen when you shake objects, and the whole game is built around that system of grabbing and throwing, and they just make it's such a crazy game. Randy, like when you get a chance, look up some of the boss fights from that game. They're insane. Just type in like Mischief Makers bosses.
I was looking at some of the pictures from the game, and I'm thinking of, like back to 17 and 18-year-old Randy when he bought his N64. I wouldn't have played that game.
No, that's the thing. No, I would have played it, but man, I'm gonna say that's like a top 5, top 10 64 game without a doubt.
Wow.
I remember insane. This. This was a good game. Yeah.
Yeah, it is insane. Like the bosses are amazing. So the first real boss you fight is this giant lava monster, and he comes out of the lava, and he's got like this little guy with him. And what he does is he punches you. So what you need to do is catch his fist, and once you have his fist, you can either throw it back into the monster's face, or you can throw it at the guy next to him. So eventually you realize, well, you just want to throw it to the guy next to him. So you kill the little guy with his fist. And then it's just this crazy fight that gets super hard, where he's just hammering away at you with these punches, and you're just trying to catch and deflect and throw them back. And it's really, there's nothing really like it at all. It's just wild. It's a really cool game. And I don't know if it ever got re-released on anything. I think it's just a 64 game. Like you need to have the hardware. I just highly recommend it. It's an amazing game.
I think I still have it somewhere.
Yeah, you
should
take
break it
that
out.
one out again. Yeah,
I got the 64.
Well, one thing I
still
want to
works.
mention about it that I thought was cool is, well, I mean, some people probably wouldn't think it's cool. You get to so every single stage has a gold or a gold gem that you can find, and you don't know what they do until you get to the end of the game. So when you get to the end and you're watching the ending, the gems are in the corner, and you realize they're a timer for watching the end of the game. So you can't watch the whole ending unless you find all of the gems. And every time you get a gem, it adds a couple seconds on that you're allowed to watch to the ending. So it's kind of an interesting idea. And then they even troll you, like, say you found every gem but the final gem. If you go to it, they tell you that, oh, here comes the big thing's gonna happen, and then the big thing doesn't happen, and then it just kicks you out. So like, it's kind of funny. They make you find all the gems. To get the real ending's ridiculous, by the way, but it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And to get all the gems, you have to fight the bosses without taking damage, and let me tell you, that is extremely difficult, and it caused me great pain, but I loved it. So
nice. That's a cool trip down the old N64 lane there.
Yeah. So, and then I was just like, oh, what else do I want to play on 64? Maybe I'll dive into something else, but then I'll probably dive into something stupid. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, this is why I was thinking poorly of this machine. I would love to play, you know what I would love to play on 64? I wanted to do it this Halloween, but I didn't get a chance. I would love to play through Doom 64. Did you guys ever play that?
Oh yeah, I even played Doom 64 because I remember the first time I actually played Doom was on a SNES, believe it or not.
Oh,
and then,
God.
And then when I had the opportunity to play it on I know, and you know what's funny is I loved it. I did.
Well, I guess if you have nothing to compare it to, yeah.
Yeah, at the time there was nothing else to compare it to. Like, our computer at the time was too old to run it, and it was a little while before we got another PC that could run it, and the SNES was my only option. But man, we put a ton of time on that.
Wow. Huh. I mean, it's amazing that game exists.
It is, yeah.
Like, on a technical level, but yeah. Whew.
That was one of the first games. The earliest memories I have of like getting like really sick playing like a first-person game was Doom 64. I think we got
really?
it. I think I played it for about 10 minutes, and I hit the floor. I was done.
That's too bad.
And then I don't think I ever played it again after that.
That's too bad. Yeah, that's a pretty cool game. It's really unique. It's almost like Doom 3 before Doom 3. They just didn't want to put the 3 on there.
Right.
It's all new. All the sprites are new. It has a really unique look. It doesn't feel like a Doom game. It's a little scarier. I only played a little bit of it. I have it, and I've always wanted to really just like put some time into that one.
Man, I think I still have the cartridge. I still have the cartridge, I think, in our box.
Oh, nice.
N64
well, don't
stuff.
play that one. Play Mission.
No, I will not.
You
Don't
won't
worry.
get sick
I'm good.
playing Mission Makers, I don't think.
Nope.
But yeah, there it is.
Cool. Should we switch into off-topic mode?
Let's do it.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, I will start just because I failed you, Phil. I did not watch any Rambo movies. I didn't. They were on the top of my queue since the last time we talked about it from Netflix, and not once did they send it to me. They sent me like Shrek and the Transporter and like a bunch of other stuff that I had like randomly like 40 and 50 on my queue, and they always have skipped over Rambo. So I apologize.
No, don't apologize.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah. But my off topic, and I'll do it quickly.
Yeah. Is
the book Fire and Blood: 300 Years Before a Game of Thrones, A Targaryen History by George R.R. Martin. I have been, flipping through that for the past month, and I think I'm done with it. I haven't finished it, but I think I'm done with it. It's interesting, but if you're, and I know, Steve, that you've read the Song of Ice and Fire books. I feel like those are written so much better than this book. The old adage of show don't tell. is like the big thing that kind of rings true here. And this is a giant book of nothing but nothing but telling and no showing. You know, it is this history of the Targaryen family, and it's just. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I wanted to ask you a question. Was it written by George R. R. Martin, or is it one of those ones where like someone else wrote it and he just kind of like oversaw it and then put his name on it?
He is the writer on this.
Huh.
Yeah, he is the writer on this.
You know, okay.
That was so loaded. I love it.
I don't want to get into like a whole, you know,
Song of Ice and Fire
I think Game of Thrones is like a great example, or at least, yes, Game of Thrones as a whole, including the books, the movie, or the show, whatever. It might be one of those things where the lore has gotten a little too big for its britches, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, like some things kind of grow organically, and then when like you push too hard, it kind of just starts to get like, all right, come on, you know, like I don't want to reference any movie series that take place in a galaxy far, far away, but I'm sure we all understand, you know, that sometimes it just doesn't work. You know, you got to kind of slow down a little bit. You know, you don't have to tell every story. Of every person, you know, whose name was ever uttered in one of the books and their lineage.
I feel like this is a case of, and it's a big book. I feel like this is the case of like, I don't think it's meant to be read in like few sittings. I think it's meant to be like a thing that you slowly digest over time, because there are so many stories that are told, and you're not like stuck with a central group of characters. It's like, and then so and so got this sword, and then they went and conquered that castle, and then then their wife died, and then they had 3 more wives, and all those wives got pregnant with boys, and it's like, okay, I don't care, you know. I mean, I do care because I think this stuff is neat, but it's all just the narrator or the narrator's voice just telling and not showing anything.
Just finish Wins the Winner, George. For God's sake. You still have one more book to write after that.
Yeah, and the writing in, you know, the original Song of Ice and Fire books are really interesting because each chapter is written from the point of view of a character, and you know, you go through the journey with that character, and is what that character is saying reliable or not, because it's you know, contradicting what other characters are saying. And those books are interesting and they're good, and even though they might be a little bit long-winded, they are interesting fiction, versus this is just like, it literally reads like an encyclopedia. And so I will be shelving it for a while.
Yeah, it sounds like
forever or a while.
For a while.
It sounds like a forever.
It might. I think for a while, because, you know, if I run out of the other stuff, I'll go back to it probably and thumb through it. You know.
Right.
But you know, just throw it on the coffee table every now and then for like a you know, when you're having a party, kind of like a conversation piece.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm being serious or not, to be honest with you.
Oh man, I really I don't have anything else really to say about it. Apparently, it's reviewing well. I don't know. I think people are just starved for content. You know. Yeah. I'll be critical. I'm not loving it.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's that. Who wants to go next, Phil or Steve?
Well, I got a positive one. If you want to come off the low,
do it, because I know what your positive one is, and I want to ride that positivity.
Yeah. So this past weekend I had some time, and I ended up binge watching Daredevil season 3, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome. It was a great ending. Good. Such a good ending to the show. Every character, all the main characters had like a really good arc. And I feel they broke the Netflix Marvel curse of the 13 episode season being feeling too long, because like all the other ones that I've watched, and I've watched them all except for the second seasons of the other 3. I haven't watched season 2 of Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, or Iron Fist. Yeah, I'm kind of done at this point, to be honest with you. I feel, and I haven't watched The Punisher yet either. But I feel like all the other seasons of the various shows, they'd get into like this lull around episode like 6 to 9, and it was just like a lot of filler and the story just kind of got like real boring for a while, and then like they'd like pick it up in the last couple episodes. I feel like this is the first one where they didn't do that, and that like it was just really good all the way through.
Yeah.
There was one episode where I got a little worried for a second, and that was the one where they went through Karen's backstory.
That episode could be cut entirely. I agree.
My point is that I was actually worried at first, because like it's right away the episode kicks off and you realize you're like back in time and you're seeing what Karen's life was before she moved to New York, and I was kind of like, oh boy, this is going to be like the slow one. But they did it pretty good, because it wasn't the whole episode. It was really just kind of like a few parts, and then the story in the current timeline or present day or whatever was still moving forward while you were getting pieces of her backstory. So I felt like that they did it well enough where it didn't feel like a really boring episode.
I think you're right. I think that they probably learned their lesson from when 11 went and met the X-Men, and you know, I think they knew that was like the dud episode of that season, and they were probably looking at Karen's episode and going, we should probably check in on the other characters too.
Yeah, it was pretty well done. That was the only one like where I said for a moment just at the beginning I was kind of like, is this going to be bad? But no, they did a good job, and it's definitely a bummer that they canceled it. I don't know any details about any contracts between Marvel and Netflix or anything. I haven't really read that much about it, so I'm sure there are people who know plenty more than I do. But I would hope that Marvel and Disney retain some ability to, do some other sort of program when they start rolling out their service next year, where they could bring these actors in again to play these characters in some context. I don't know what it would be. And I realize that on Disney, they're not going to put like R-rated content on there.
Right.
But I feel like they could still do justice with some of these characters from this, the street level Defenders Marvel, without all the cursing and the extreme violence and stuff. They could still do some good stuff with them.
If they handle it like, Netflix, they totally could. They could have it so that when you sign in, just the kids' content is there for children, and the quote-unquote adult content is there for parents and such.
I don't know.
It's one of those things. We'll see.
I know you could. I believe Disney's been pretty like clear that they're not going to have anything above PG-13 on the service.
I didn't know
Bob
that.
Iger pretty much came out and said that flat out. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, but Disney also owns Hulu, or they own a portion of Hulu, so they could always put content like that on there. Anyway, I'm sorry, I don't mean to get into like a whole content distribution thing.
No.
My only point was that I really hope that there's some way that Marvel's able to do that, because it seems like they're really kind of like starting. They've got a Scarlet Witch miniseries that's going to be on there. They've got a Loki miniseries that's going to be on there with all the actors from the movies playing the characters. They're going to be having other people as well. I think they said like Sebastian Stan was going to be playing the Winter Soldier in one of those two series as well. It could be overload, but it could be a nice opportunity just to film like instead of making a Scarlet Witch movie, maybe they could make a 4-episode miniseries that tells some story. Could be good, it could be bad, who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm so in love with all that content right now that I would just like to see what they can do.
I will reserve judgment. I probably won't subscribe to the Disney service when it comes out. Probably not for a while.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out at least for a bit. Yeah, because we very Disney centric household when it comes to the stuff we watch. So I especially like a lot of like the younger kids show, like the Disney Junior type stuff. So if that's all on there, that'll be a good one. But
rolling you back to Daredevil.
Back to Daredevil. Let's get back to Daredevil. Yeah, sorry. They introduced some new characters.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
They introduced a couple new kind of like main characters in kind of an antagonistic kind of role. There's a what's his name, Ray Nazim, is that the FBI agent who's kind of like been overseeing Wilson Fisk while he's under federal custody, and then Dexter, what's his name, Poindexter?
Yep.
I can't remember his first name's escaping me right now.
Dex Poindexter. Yep.
His name was Dex Poindexter?
I think it was, right? Is that Dex?
I thought his first name was something else, and then they just called him Dex because of Poindexter. But
dude, maybe it was.
I thought it was something else, but I'm having a brain fart, and I didn't put it in my notes. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But they introduced these 2 new characters, and I don't want to spoil anything because I know that it hasn't been out very long. But
his name is Benjamin
Poindexter. There you go. Right. Yeah, because they kept calling him Ben. Yeah. They both have really good stories as well. It's always kind of weird, like, late in the show to start introducing new people, but there was a lot of potential there that I feel like is a shame that now that the show's gotten canceled. So I hope to see, like I said, I would just like to see them do something with it. But I don't know. What were you going to say? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I'm just going to hop in because I also loved season 3 of Daredevil, and the few things that I will say about this is what I really liked about Daredevil season 3 is that every character, every single one, arcs. Everybody starts at one point and they all end at a different point. Nobody is static through the whole thing. So everybody has an arc. So even Wilson Fisk, Daredevil definitely. Bullseye definitely does. So everybody goes through a change, which is great. It's fantastic writing that goes through in that. Second thing I'll say is that if you happen to be like, oh, I'm finally going to get around to watching Daredevil on Netflix, watch Daredevil season 1. It's wonderful. It's beautifully shot, and it's a great story. And then skip Daredevil season 2, skip the Defenders, and just go right to Daredevil season 3. You won't have missed literally anything. And in fact, the events of Daredevil seasons 2 and Defenders, they don't really play much at all in season 3. So that's what I'd have to say.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Really all season 2 of Daredevil did was introduce the Punisher for the first half, and then set up the Defenders in the second half. So it was and Elektra and all that stuff. So it was kind of not great.
Yeah, but, she was awful. She was just awful.
I didn't mind her too much in that role. It's just I think the character was just written poorly. It was a poor interpretation.
I could agree with that. Yep, I could agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely the weakest of the 3 seasons. And season 3, it's almost better than season 1, really. I mean, I know it's kind of weird to say that because there couldn't be a season 3 without a season 1. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of unfair, maybe.
I think story-wise, season 3 is better than season 1.
Yeah, it's just like you said, like it just everyone feels like I remember in season 1, like I didn't like Foggy and I didn't really care for Karen either that much, So it was like now this time I was like so invested in like Foggy's girlfriend and like those characters, like even they were like good. I was more into a lot of the side characters. Like the first season, I was just like all about Daredevil, and I didn't care about anybody else. So yeah, I guess in that way, yeah, season 3 is a bit better. But you got to watch 1 first anyway.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good recommendation, man.
Yep.
Phil, close us out, man. What's your off topic?
I was gonna bring up the book, but then it went first, so I don't have an off topic. But I did see Ralph Breaks the Internet.
How was that?
It was okay. So
no. We'll leave. Yeah, boy, that came out, and I haven't heard like anybody really talking about it.
My wife and daughter actually saw it today.
What'd they think? They like it?
They loved it, but my daughter's 4, so
I thought. Okay. Yes. No, I mean, look, there's a lot of movies lately where I watch the movie and I enjoy the movie, right? And like that's good. It did its job. But then, like, as soon as I start thinking about the movie, I don't know. It starts like falling apart. And Wreck-It Ralph was unfortunately one of those movies where like I started thinking about it. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then the girls watched the first one again, which I love. I absolutely love the first one.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is just a much better movie. But I'm glad I saw it. I mean, I still enjoyed it, but not the first. Not on the level of the first one. But yeah. So there's my.
There it is. Off topic.
That's it. I'll be quick.
That rounds us out, guys. This is it. Season 1 done. Boom.
Woohoo! I think. Yeah.
Good job.
Made it.
Yeah, we did it.
I think I might I win the award for the least number of episodes attended. Sorry about that, but I'll do better. I'll do better in the future.
I felt bad missing the last one because we were going to have all four of us together united.
Right, and that was the plan for tonight too. Yeah.
Yeah, but life happens. So.
Life happens, man. That's the point of the show. Life happens.
Life literally happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
In the case of tonight, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Congratulations once again to Ryan and his growing family.
Absolutely.
It's like the best holiday news right there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that's it for season 1, guys. Thanks for joining me throughout this whole ride and
journey.
Yeah, we'll see you guys all soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.